Hello, welcome to the weekly process. We are processing life one week at a time, and in this week's weekly process, we are looking at a big topic, which is work stress. So, there's lots to say about this topic. We have to start somewhere. So, let's just start by plotting how we feel right now. So, I'm going to get my diagram up that I have drawn, and you can draw your own version of this on your paper. Hopefully, you're writing with pen on paper, but if you're doing it digitally, that's fine too. So, I've drawn a circle with 4 quadrants in, and the way to look at this is to look at this line going from the bottom to the top as a sense of activation in your body. So if you think of that as sort of 0 to 10, how activated you feel, when 0 is really flat and 10 at the top is hyper or panicked. You could use lots of different words to describe those. I've just put hyper at the top and flat at the bottom. So what you want to do is get a sense of how activated you feel right now. For example, if you're feeling very anxious about tomorrow, if you've got something on tomorrow that is making you feel apprehensive, then you are likely to feel quite activated right now. So you wouldn't be flat, would you? You might be somewhere up here. Go with your gut. Just go with your gut on this. Put yourself somewhere on that line. And then if that feeling feels, if you're excited about tomorrow, if you're looking forward to it, then maybe you'd be more over here towards the pleasant side of that line here, going left to right. And if it's not something that you're looking forward to, then you'd probably be more over this side. So firstly, getting a sense of where you are here, and then whether that feeling feels pleasant or unpleasant. So if it's pleasant that way, if it's unpleasant, you'd put your 1 in that quadrant there. So I put a 1 there for when I previously plotted this. 1 before I started writing, and then I put a 2 after I did my writing session. So the 2 is what we're going to plot afterwards. So just put a 1 there for now. I'm going to do a 2 afterwards. Okay, so what is stress? Right, this is a big topic, isn't it? Now, one way to look at it is stress is it's psychological, but it's also physical. Okay, so it incorporates both of those elements, and it can be seen as the balance between the demands that are placed on us versus the resources that we've got to deal with those demands. And so a certain amount of stress is not a bad thing, right? There's an optimal level for both of us, an optimal level that we can handle. So if you're feeling less stressed than is your optimal level, that can sometimes not be a great thing either, right? So you might feel like, if we put it in the context of work, that you're not being challenged enough, and there's not enough stress, so to speak, right? Because the optimal level that you want to feel energized, to feel activated in a good way, is not there. But then on the flip side of that is what most people talk about when they talk about stress, is when it's over the optimal level and you feel like too much stress is there versus your resources to cope with those demands, and it feels like it's beyond your optimal level. So we can see it as a sense of balance. And now stress is different to burnout, which you probably know, but I thought that it might be worth mentioning what the differences are between stress and burnout. So stress is a sense of activation. We've talked about it as being an activation that, you've got an optimal level for how alert and activated you feel. It's a sense of activation, whereas, and sometimes it can be too much, right? Sometimes it can be not enough. Burnout is quite different to that. So burnout it's almost past the point of this. It's where things are dulled. You've gone over the optimal level into the point where emotions are dulled. You become more withdrawn. You could feel low and things could feel meaningless because it's gone past that point of activation. It's gone into a sense of switching off and disengaging. So Some of the signs of burnout, I thought it might be worth mentioning just so that you can get a sense of this, is we're talking here about that detachment, right? It's gone past the point of stress into detachment and withdrawal. So if you're feeling any of these things, you can see there it's quite different to that sense of activation that comes with stress. Um, and so those are some of the things that are relevant for burnout, feeling withdrawn, feeling disengaged, finding you haven't got a sense of purpose or meaning anymore. I will put a link to the site where I got these slides from because it's quite helpful, and they've got a guide that you can download. Um, Looking here at some of the things that you would look at with burnout is the negative thoughts that you might start to have because the stress has gone past the point where it's felt like too much and you feel like you're just disengaging, it's just too much. Our ways of coping, looking at what the impact of the environment, and not feeling like there's a balance, that you can't recharge. So I put those down there as a bit of a guide to some of the areas that you could look at for stress as well. So that is your balance between work, and the rest of your life. Some of the thoughts that you might be having about your work, about your job, the things that help you cope, and the environment that you're working within and your thoughts about that. Now, you don't have to write about these areas, but I thought they might provide a good prompt for us when we're thinking about writing about our work stress. So, going into our first writing session, which is going to be 7 minutes long, and this is going to be where we offload all the thoughts and feelings that you have about your job and about the stress of your job. So, I want you to feel like you can just get it all out without analysing. We'll do the processing in the next writing session. But in this one, you're just getting it all out onto the page, all the thoughts, all the feelings um, from the past week or recently, what comes up for you when you think about the stress of your job. If you finish before the 7 minutes, what you could do is write about an event that happened over the past week or two that felt stressful for you. Don't feel like you've got to write it grammatically in a grammatically correct way. Don't feel like you have to write it out as a story, or you need to know how you think about it right now. This first writing session is to get everything out and not worry about how it comes out. The processing will happen afterwards. All right, so I will see you in 7 minutes. And this writing session is broken down into two periods, one of 5 minutes and the last one of 2 minutes. So you've got a sense of when we're coming to the end of the session. And there's music to go with these countdown slides. All right, so I'll see you in 7 minutes. Just get it all out onto the page. welcome back after that first writing session. Is your hand aching? Mine is. All right, so luckily we're going to do a quick pause and check in and breathing and releasing tension now. So that will hopefully help my hand. I was writing quite a lot there. I wondered how you found that and whether you were able to just get out onto the page all that was happening this week, or maybe not all of it, but hopefully you felt like you were writing about something that was present for you right now. And you can always pick up where you have left off there in the processing session, and maybe write about or offload something else from this week before going into the processing. So I want you to feel like you can do this in whatever way works for you. Yes, we've got it split into offloading and processing, but as you do this more and more, you'll realize you'll find a natural process that works for you. So yeah, if you want to continue offloading in the next writing session, that's fine. Because what you'll find is that you'll find your own rhythm with this and your own time period that works. Okay, so before we go into that next writing session, let's just check in with ourselves. So we're going to take a deep breath in and then release it like a big sigh. This is quite helpful for the nervous system. A sigh is quite releasing for the nervous system. All right, so take in a big breath in and let it out like a big sigh. And another one of those. Big breath in and let it out like a big sigh. And one more of those. Big breath in and out like a big sigh. Check in your body for any tension anywhere. So check your toes to see if they're clenching. Check your hands to see if they're clenching. Your calves and your shoulders. Just shake out any tension. Shaking out the tension in my hands. Right. As we go into this next writing session, we're going to be processing what we've offloaded, or obviously keep offloading, whatever works for you. But I'm just going to give you a few pointers on what you can do if you're wondering how to process what you've offloaded. So we're talking this week about work stress. One of the things you can do is look for the themes and the patterns that have come up for you as you have just been offloading. So follow the thread of something that intrigues you or interests you, or you think, oh, I think I've felt that before with that person, or this situation's happened before. Follow that thread and see where it leads you, because there might be some important information there for you in that as you keep writing. You can also look at themes in your thoughts. So if a certain person or a certain situation or a certain day of the week or a certain meeting makes you feel a certain way about yourself, and that's when you notice the thoughts that make you feel upset, look for those patterns and in your thinking. Follow the thread of that, write about that and see where it leads. You can also look at the event that you wrote about in the first session and pick up where you left off with that event. Keep writing and see where it leads you. Often when I'm doing this exercise, there can be a point where you just feel like, that's it, I can't write anymore. And I find that if you push yourself beyond that and you try and just keep writing, and you do that by saying or writing, all right, got nothing else to write about that. Don't know what else to write about that. Not sure if there's anything else I can write about that. You could maybe even write that, okay, when you're looking at this event. And just follow the thread of whatever comes up for you. You might see an image of that person you were writing about. You might think a thought about that event. It'll just be something that springs to mind. Follow that and see where it leads. It may not give you anything earth-shattering, but it could give you something very insightful. And that's one of the things that I find quite fascinating about this process, is that when you feel like you've finished writing, if you can just go past that point, and sometimes it's hard to to get past that point. So you do have to kind of you have to have that bridge where you're saying, "Oh, I don't know what to write about. Oh, what should I write about? Oh, that's it. I've got nothing else to write about." Sometimes you have to go through that bit to get down to that deeper level. So try that if you feel like you've come to the end before the 7 minutes. Um, but that is now us coming up to our second writing session. This is the processing. All right, picking up from where you left off, trying some of those ideas there. This is another 7 minutes, and I will see you on the other side. All right, here we go. Hello, welcome back. How was that processing session? So I wonder how far you got with that, whether you felt like you processed the event that you offloaded in the first writing session, or whether you feel like you got any insights as to some of the patterns or the themes in the things that have been stressing you out. If you've chosen to write about work stress, you may not have done, and that's okay too. You can use these writing sessions to offload and process your week, whatever that is that has happened for you. Or whatever has not happened for you. The week can contain many things, right? So it's going to be different for all of us. We don't often get a chance to offload and process it, so that is what these sessions are for. But I wonder how you found that, and whether you felt that you got some insights there that you didn't have before the session. So we plotted at the start, didn't we, how we felt at the beginning going into our writing. Let's bring that back up again and plot where we are now. So I'm just going to do my circle for today and put where I was at the beginning and where I feel I am now. So you can do the same. So put a number 2 for where you feel you are now. So how activated do you feel right now? You might feel more energized. You might feel the same. You might feel more relaxed, in which case you're less activated. So you're further down here. Does that feeling feel pleasant or unpleasant? And if you feel that you have been writing about things that have made you feel anxious or apprehensive, and you still feel like that, maybe there's some more writing that you could do there just to get that out onto paper. And if it's also, I think it's worth bearing in mind here that you have got Monday coming up. If your anxiety is about the fact that you've got Monday coming up, then that's not always something that we can get rid of, because it's not actually necessarily a bad thing. It's your body, your nervous system, right, getting activated for what you have to do tomorrow. So a certain amount of that activation is normal. It's because you're getting ready for the start of a working week. And reframing it as something that is not necessarily a bad thing, that is just you getting ready, your body getting ready for the week. Can help, right? It's when we think that, oh, I don't like this feeling, I want to get rid of it. And then you get frustrated because you can't get rid of it, because it's normal, right? You're getting ready for the week to come. So your body has to do that. So trying to get rid of it and get annoyed with yourself is just going to make you more frustrated. So seeing it as a normal thing can help. Um, so plot where you are right now, and if you feel like you want to do some more processing, you want to do some more writing, you can do another 7 minutes, right? Set your timer for 7 minutes and see how you get on with that. But if you feel like that is it, that is you done, you have processed what you wrote about in that first writing session, then that's you done for this week. And you can go and enjoy the rest of your Sunday. And I hope you found that helpful. So that's it for this week, and I hope you have a wonderful week. And I will see you next Sunday for another weekly process. That's it for now. I'll see you next week.